Hey guys, and welcome to another Lame Ass review with me. I just finished watching SPN 1220 Twigs, Twine, and Tasha Bands. I believe that's the title. Let me just double check. Hey, looks like I got it right. Nice. Okay. Sorry, I got a puppy that's annoyed that I started talking. So anyway, just finished watching the episode, and of course we got to see the return of the twins. When they first were introduced, really liked their characters, wanted to see more of them. I'm really glad they got a second appearance this season, as I wanted to explore more of the localized hunting community and see more new hunters come into the fold. So we've been seeing a little bit more of that this season, which is really nice. And unfortunately for Alicia and Max, their lives kind of went the way of the hunter already. Um, so, beginning of the episode, we have Tasha, who is a witch, and she starts going and hunting down this other witch and ends up passing away right from the get-go. And then, classic death scene, classic, oh no, don't go into that underground cellar. But the cinematography was actually kind of interesting. The direction I think that Richard Speight Jr. Used in this episode was actually pretty good. I do enjoy his work. I do like the way his camera close-ups and angles really work the scenes. So don't get me wrong about that one. I just think it's a classic horror trope. Like, oh hey, maybe I shouldn't go into that abandoned dungeon. No? Okay. It's just me, maybe. So anyway, yeah, so she dies. No one saw that one coming. And then the twins get into action with Sam and Dean. Nope, I'm skipping the bunker part. So, of course, we have the released little sneak peek thing that we had today, and of course the fandom went crazy with Dean freaking out over Cass and Sam being quiet while Dean is saying that Cass, he didn't recognize the man he was looking at, that Cass was not himself, that he's really worried that he might lose him this time. He's just doing all the things that a worried hunter husband would do, or, Dean in this case, for any member of his family. There's that. And then Sam just started talking about the cult, and I got this really eerie feeling like, well, I mean, I think that's the direction that Richard Speight was trying to use with the cameras and the lighting and the sound and everything. I think it was meant to really imply that they're going to possibly use the cult on Cass, but I think that's a misdirection. I think they're doing that purposely so that we'll be misled into believing that. But we all know that they'll do anything they can to save Cass, and so I think that perhaps they're more concerned about the Nephilim itself in that scene with the gun. Now I know it seems very scary and dangerous for Cass when they're talking about that, but honestly I don't think that they would go after Cass like that. They would threaten him, they would push to the very end, but then I don't think they would pull the trigger, and they best not. So yeah, there's all of that going on. At the beginning of the episode, Dean is freaking out. Even when Sam gets called into the case by the twins, Dean is just still going, what about Cass? And, it's good to see continuation through the episodes as well. I like the fact that it's not just skipping from one case to the next case, completely letting go of all of the different storylines that have already been built up. Like that has been an issue in the past where you sit there and you go, well, what happened to this character, and this happened just last week, don't you think you should talk about it? And it's really relevant to the storyline, and yet they just go into case mode. So I'm really liking the continuation of this season and how they're actually still moving forward with different thoughts and progressions and storylines, and they're all intertwining them. So yeah, moving on to the twins. And I'm not sure if any of you have watched my Fangirl Chronicles road trip with Monica, but I did take Monica to Pit Lake, and that scene where they met the twins, when the twins were calling Sam and Dean and where they met them, that was all at Pit Lake. Monica and I were texting, and she's like, "Holy shit, you took me there!" And I was like, "I know." Because that is where they film. The roads are perfect for the Impala and scenes from SPN. So yeah, if all that lake scene and everything, you know, is now Pit Lake in Pitt Meadows, yeah, BC. So yeah, it's a really nice lake. And the scene where Max and Dean's go back to the car, that was adorable to me. I think Max is sort of like a mini Dean. He's not, obviously he's not his kid or anything, but I know that some people will immediately ship them together, but I don't really see that between them. I see it more like Max is sort of like a younger version of Dean himself. And, you know, I think it's funny that, you know, Max was all flirty, trying to get out of an awkward situation he didn't want to be in, using flirting and humor and distraction, so much like Dean. And you know, he was asking Dean to see his car and check it out, and Dean's all for it. Dean's all for stepping out of it, out of the situation and showing off his baby. And yes, that could totally be seen as a flirtation, but then Dean uses flirting to get out of awkward situations too. So I thought that was pretty neat, that scene. I thought it was pretty cute. You could see their coping mechanisms. You could see that Alicia and Sam were bonding over being on the outside of the family, or at least feeling that way. When they finally get to where they're going, the mother is already dead. Um, and there's the scene with the wine, with the Twigs and Twine like puppet character that is playing the mom, and Dean is introduced to wine, and I think, thank you. It is far too late for Dean. Like, Dean should be on the wine train by now. I mean, sure, he's an alcoholic, likes his whiskey and all that jazz, but seriously, if you're over 30, yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing. Wine is excellent, and I think it's going to be one of those things where Dean just acts like he doesn't like it. Kind of like pennies, Taylor Swift, cake, what else? Cucumber water. I'm just throwing these out here. Just par exemple. You know, like it's one of those things I think Dean is gonna really like. I think he just needed an excuse to try the wine, but he was adorable in that scene. Sam was kind of outside of everything. Like, I felt like, you know, he wasn't quite in the whole episode, if you will. It was weird. But I think that was a strategic point on direction as well. You know, because Sam already admitted that he already felt a little bit on the outside when it was just John and Dean hunting all the time, and he always felt like the external character. Whereas, you know, Alicia said the similar thing with not being a witch. And Sam, I kind of felt his presence was a little bit lacking in the storyline. And I think that was kind of to emulate how much he was sort of on the outside, and was just kind of feeling that all over, like they're just kind of replaying those roles a little bit. It's basically a reflection of their own family, and I kind of felt like they were just showing a bit of young, awkward Sam feeling out of place in the tone of the story. Now, that could be completely off, but that's sort of how I felt, and it didn't mean that they were excluding Sam. I think it was just an artistic choice in how they filmed, and I thought it was kind of interesting. This is my own personal opinion again, but I think that if that's what they were going for, to showcase that part of Sam's life and how much things have changed and grown, but you can still see those, you know, background scars and that they carry with them in family matters, then I think they did it brilliantly, and I think they did it delicately, and I think they did it very subtly. So it was well done. As for Max, well, we just feel brokenhearted for him all over the place, with first losing his mom, then losing Alicia. Um, Dean didn't want to let him walk the path that he already has, but in the same time, I knew that Max would go back for the ring because, as I previously stated, he is like in a younger version of Dean. He is sort of a mirror representation of Dean, and Dean would do anything for his family, and of course Max would too. So I knew that Max would make that choice right from the get-go, um, especially when his sister was killed. We noticed when Sam was stabbed as well. The first time Sam died, he was stabbed as well. So there's a lot of parallels in this. They're dreaming about the life that they would have had as a family or could have had, and yet it was all torn apart anyway, and it was just shattering the illusion that there ever was that apple pie kind of life for them. For this illusion needed to be broken, and it's also building up different kinds of dynamics between parents and people, and just being a strong representation and a decent human being. I haven't even touched on the Ketch and Mary issues. Mary kicked ass, but again, I think it's a little too late for her to get this woke. She needs to get out of there. We got to see who they were hunting. We saw Elaine, we saw Claire, we saw Garth up on the screen, and they better not hurt our babies. This is our hunting family, and I am sick and tired of losing our members. So what I'm really hoping for is this big ass, kick ass showdown between the British Men of Letters and the American Hunters, and I'd love to see this big reunion between Claire and Eileen and Mary and Sam and Dean and Garth and Cass and even Crowley and Rowena, and just pull in everybody and just kick the British Men of Letters ass out of there. So that's totally what I want to see. This is what I'm hoping we'll see. We don't know what's going to happen with the Nephilim. That's still up in the air, and we'll find out later. Next episode, looks like there's going to be a bit of a showdown, but I don't think it'll be the final one. So we'll see how things go. The sneak peek kind of indicates, at least the little bits that I saw, that Aileen is back in the scene and possibly again around Sam, and my little heart loves it. So I guess that's about it for the episode. Mary's being tortured. Who knows what they expect her to give up. But yeah, she doesn't know as much about the boys as they think she does. So I don't know what she can give up. Anyway, this is my lame ass review. As you know, it's covering everything you've already seen with your own two eyes. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me tonight. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and goodbye, my lovelies. Bye-bye.